Sonic Mania.
And are we live? Yes, we're live. All right, I'm going fast once again for the first time in like 10 years. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, Evan. How's it going?
All right, I just have to pull up this news business. I might have to share it. Hold on one second. There's really not that much news. It's kind of a dead month right now, huh?
It's the dog days of summer with video games. You know, everyone's preparing for after E3 hype and all that. So
there really wasn't even that much. It's just kind of like hoping something catches our eye before the holidays come up.
Well, yeah, we'll have our Call of Duty game in a couple months. We'll have that. That's it. Everything's gonna be coming out like Destiny is September. Then we have
September to like the first weekend of November is gonna be like all the stuff. Hold on.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And I'll probably get half of them around Christmas time anyway. But yeah, I've actually gone back and played some games that I've missed out on.
Yeah, like recently.
Yeah, like I'm trying to just play games that I've missed out on and just heard certain good things about. Like right now, I was playing Stardew Valley.
Yes, I've heard nothing but beautiful things about Stardew Valley.
It's addicting. It's like I get home, do everything I gotta do, gym, all that, get on the game like 10 o'clock. It's like 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go to work in like 3 hours.
Now, is it anything like
what I get from it is I really like Animal Crossing. That's probably my favorite game on the GameCube. It's a little bit like that with the Terraria look and a little bit of Harvest Moon. That's what I kind of feel from it.
Okay.
I don't know. Does it say something about me where I join games where I simulate like?
No, not at all. Harvest Moon is actually legitimately good.
No, I know they're good games. So it's just like I work hard all day, and then it's like I come home and I want to play a game where I have to work.
Well, funny you say that because I'm a couple years removed from school, and I finally got a little bit deeper into Persona 5, which I have a lot to say about. Unless you wanted to say a few more things about Stardew Valley first.
I mean, I'm sure everyone already knows it's a great game. It's fun. It's only $15. It's
Stardew Valley.
If you want a game that's gonna last you till like Destiny, COD, Star Wars, anything like that, this seems like a great game to just pick up and play. You don't have to drop $60 on.
Yeah, definitely.
And this is a game you could stop and then come back to at any point. It's not like a game that's going anywhere. It's no big updates and stuff, but it's just a fun, complete game. It's its own little thing. It doesn't need much else.
Nice. Since I'm playing it right now, like it's the game that I'm playing through the stream, and you actually have a pretty solid view of it. Have you heard much of anything about Sonic Mania?
I heard it was the best Sonic game to come out, but it's just all the old Sonic games. So,
do you know the backstory behind it?
No, I remember hearing there was a big Sonic party and they had like chili cheese dogs. I think at E3.
That was like the 25th anniversary, and they had like a really bad host, and they had Crush 40 play, and it was it was historically, it was like it was like DashCon levels of weird.
Really?
I say that like I went, but I didn't.
I had a sister who used to work for a company that did Sonic comic books, so I got a clue.
I remember that very well. Yeah. Oh goddamn. So what's cool?
My life, it seems.
What is cool about Sonic Mania though is Team Sonic seems to, after the first few years, never had a solid grasp on what made it fun in the first place. And it's not just like, going fast. Like there's more. There has to be more to it than that. Otherwise, people just get nauseous, and then it's broken and clunky, and
it wasn't a game that translated good to 3D. It was like this and Mario were like the 2D side-scrolling adventures that everyone wanted to play. Then Mario 64 came out, and it was like, games changed, boys. Yeah. We have new adventure games.
Yeah, now we got to go 3D
and Sonic DX or whatever it was.
Sonic Adventure, and then DX was the remaster. It's sad that I know as much as I do about Sonic the Hedgehog.
I'm just gonna say, when Sonic DX came out, I was still young enough. It seemed like a fun game. I don't know, but you go back and play it, you're like, oh my god.
So the unique thing about this, right? Because they've done 2D Sonic games before, and those are the ones that I enjoyed the most. Like I had a Sonic Rush on the DS, right, where it was a side scroller but utilized the 2-screen functionality and stuff like that. But as far as Team Sonic making a 2D Sonic game goes, it's only been like a weird little homage. It was like half of a game somewhere, and then never really comes up unless they're gonna try to do a nostalgic throwback for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
This is actually a fan game come to life. The guys that made this were working on ROMs, and they were very successful ROMs, and they basically looked like lost Sega Saturn games for Sonic the Hedgehog that would never have gotten made just because it was the kind of console upgrade, pixel palette, sound card. It was just the kind of upgrade that you see this is more capable of, but they never utilized it for that system.
Wow.
In this particular case,
the people who are making remasters of old games, like the guy who did Metroid, they seem to be getting a lot of jobs lately. That seems to be the way
that guy. Basically, this would be Nintendo if Nintendo actually hired that guy to do the Metroid 2 remake. Instead, another developer did, which is cool. But it's almost as though this is a combination of that and the modern iteration of The Simpsons, where it was awful for years after the original crew of writers and animators left, and people just kind of wrote it off, and it's been around for too long, and everyone wonders why, and then all of a sudden it comes back. The people that loved it and understood what it was in the first place were capable of...
They're the ones in charge now. They're the ones in charge.
They revived it, and this is tried and true a fan project. They just happened to get picked up by Sonic Team for it. So this is really cool, and that because of that, this is a multi-platform game. I'm playing it on Nintendo Switch right now. It's on PC. It's on PS4. PS4 Pro. It's got a 4K upscale. It's going to be on Xbox One, and it's going to have an Xbox One X 4K upscale because there's actually, good frame rate supported. But it's also on PC, Mac, Linux. And I got my Chaos Crystal. So,
there we go.
You made it. Yeah. Well, there's bonus stages.
I was watching that.
It combines the 2D stuff, and then the bonus stages look like Sonic CD, which is CD was not like it's a disc format. It was more the engine that it was running on. Was Sega CD. And so this has a much broader color palette than even Sonic 3. Oh, crap. But it also has solid 60 frames, which makes it really nice if you want to play a Sonic game where you feel like you're actually legitimately going fast.
That's all it's about.
So this basically, it's not simply a rehash of Sonic games that people have seen before. It actually has a lot of unique level design, but uses familiar architecture from them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like an homage to all the old levels. They're not exactly the old levels, but they look and feel like the old levels, but it's still fresh and new that you want to go out and play it. It's not like
I started a new game file here, right? This is Green Hill Zone. Everybody knows this one. It's the original thing. And it's almost kind of open world in scale. It's a huge map, and there's tons of different directions you can go on it, and there's like 2 or 3 different boss battles. So it's significantly bigger. So, but as far as the way that it looks, it's how everyone remembers Sonic to be. But then if you go back, it's going to be very muted in terms of color.
Yeah, it's like with the new Crash Bandicoot remaster. Like it was built from the ground up, and it looks amazing, plays really fun. Just remember it, like how you think everything looked and how everything played. But when you go back and actually play it and look at it, you're like, it's so much different.
Yeah.
When you're
that kind of reminds me of when they did the remaster of Shadow of the Colossus. Because if you go back to that PS2 copy, it's pretty legitimate that they're doing a 4K a full remaster, like a recreation of it. Because that game has the art direction for it.
Yeah, I remember when that game came out. I was like, wow, this looks just like a movie. It seems like every generation is like, how are they going to make video games look better? But yet they find a way to make video games look better.
Yeah, that's never going to be the challenge. It's the challenge is always going to be how do you make it stand the test of time as it is right now. And you have the same challenge with movies too.
Yeah. Well, it's like you look at the old, at CG things, especially in the Star Wars prequels, like how the how just certainly bad. You got to get the blue orbs. Get the blue orbs.
I know.
But that seems to be the biggest problem. It's like, how do you make a game look good forever?
Yeah.
I feel like
And
it's easy to let
this
the old
kind of
games
follows the tactics of the old games.
yeah, it's like they look good. The old games look so good because it was everything's a lot simpler. But it's got a charm to it. It's like when you see a classic old car, it's like it just has a look to it that you really like it.
Ah, crap. So yeah, this is actually for an independently made thing. It's basically the best fan game result that anything could have ever happened for Sonic or most of these old franchises. So it would be really nice if Nintendo took Mario Maker and did something out of that not dissimilar to this.
Yeah.
I think that they could really benefit from that because this game succeeds not just in the way that it gets a nostalgic look down, but it actually has clever and unique level design.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to give this game the playability that the old ones always did. Oh, shit.
That bridge giving you trouble.
Ah! I'll be fine. There we go.
But yeah, I think people have more access to be able to make games and create you can go back and create a whole new level for an old game that you loved or played in the early 90s, late 80s or something.
Yeah.
We're at that point where anybody can develop a game like that. Back then you used to have thousands of dollars worth of computers, but now a basic PC you could develop an 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit game or something.
I'm trying to get up on that ledge. Yeah. Yes, Travis, I know I'm bad at Sonic games. He hasn't said anything yet, but I know that's what he's thinking. Let me see.
I'll give you a tip.
What else?
Go faster.
I do need to go faster.
Go faster.
I was just trying to think what else there was to say about this game because I've only played the first few levels. But I ended up getting it on Switch, even though it has a few minor frame rate differences, mostly because of I wanted to play it portably.
Yeah, this seems like a fun portable game, and that's the reason everyone. And that's the true reason to have a Switch, right? Portability.
Well, that's why I got it because it's kind of nice. This is one of those first instances where I've been able to be like, hey, I have 3 of the 4 major platforms that a game is being released on, and Nintendo Switch is one of them somehow. So, wow, I just burst that into flames. Okay, that's kind of like a cool little environmental doohickey. So I'm like, okay, do I get it on PS4 for $20? Do I get it on PC for $20? Perform better on PC. But then I'm like, oh, well, Nintendo Switch. It's going to perform just about exactly the same. Literally, the only difference is that bonus stage that I was on, like the 3D one.
Yeah.
Like a couple of frame rate dips. Other than that, it's the same.
Yeah.
I may as well just get it on the Switch so I can play it on the go. Because why would I not want to play a Sonic game portably?
That's honestly how I would want to play it. Because this isn't a game where I got to sit in front of a TV and pay attention to every little detail on screen. I guess you could, but I get stuck down there. But it's not like an expansive, huge world that has to be played in super 70-inch TV or something like that. Just a fun adventure game that you can play on the bus, on the train, on break.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is like one of those instances where I'm so glad that I have the Switch for something like this. As far as this game goes, it's all I've got so far because I haven't played much of it. I literally just downloaded it last night. What other games have you been playing?
I guess I basically beat Slime Rancher. I collected all the slimes and did most of the game. But that was a Games with Gold.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I built a kick-ass farm in that. I didn't beat it. There's no real beating that game. It's like a farming game too. Playing a lot of farming games. I don't know why. Stardew Valley. I've been playing a lot. Fortnite. I've kind of.
Have you burned out on Fortnite? Because you.
Yeah, I burnt out. It was fun in the beginning when everything was kind of new and fresh, but then things towards the mid game started to get repetitive, and it's such a grind to get to the late game that I'm just I don't really have, because I know I'm going to be playing different games in September, November,
Yeah.
So I'm I don't really want to invest any more time, and especially a lot of like if you want to unlock like new weapon schematics and things like that, a lot of it is through these things called llamas, which are basically like lottery tickets, like you pay to get them, and that's how you unlock like legendary like weapons that you could build later
Yeah.
and things like that. So it's kind of like you kind of get annoyed by that sometimes
Right.
because it's like it's like it doesn't matter how good you do like in the game, where it's like because you got to pay to get certain weapons and things like that that you're not even guaranteed to get. Right?
Oh no! I got to get back to that bonus stage because I restarted. Okay. So I'm just trying to think. There's a few things that I had played. I'm just trying to backtrack to what the first one was, but this was the most recent because I played it last night. Okay, so a friend of mine let me borrow the HTC Vive over the weekend. I had demoed that hardware before. I don't know if you have.
I've only used an Oculus.
Okay, so the Vive is the Steam version, and it's technically better hardware. Except, so, and I have a PC that runs it. It's the Alienware, right? So that's fine. The software I tried to install, it was fine. I literally spent some of my own money on the VR version of Super Hot because I love Super Hot that much that I was like, well, even if I get to play it for like 5 minutes, I'll gladly pay the $20 again. How complex was it for you to set up an Oculus if you were the one to set it up?
I did not set it up. I was using a friend's computer who already had it set up.
Okay. Had he expressed any difficulties setting up virtual reality?
Yes, he did. He didn't have trouble setting up the Oculus. He had trouble getting certain games to work. Like when he was trying to play Elite Dangerous, like that was like a whole week of him trying to set up Elite Dangerous.
Okay.
Once he got it running, it ran perfectly. Like I played games on it time when I was at his house.
I'm sure that's the experience, but let me tell you, you know the difference between the Vive and the Oculus, right? In terms of the hardware.
Yeah, the Vive has better hardware. I know that.
And well, no, but like in terms of like how it's built, right? So and all that comes in the box. The instructions are clear, but the thing is, the way that you set up the play area is you have two sensors, right?
Yeah, you have the what's it called? The things you put in the corners, right? That scan your area.
Yeah, they're sensors, and I understand the concept of them. It works fine. They give you mounts with like ball joints. Basically, you're supposed to put them in the two opposite corners of each other to define your play area, right?
Yeah.
And I just like I'm nauseous even trying to explain the problems that I had with it. And it's like they worked, and it's like you had to have them on non-similarly associated channels. So there's like 3 channels. You could do A, B, C. And so my first mistake was I missed the fact that they had to be on opposite channels, but I didn't know if one was better than the other anyway. And so when you have Steam VR being set up, it gives you like a detection sensor, right? So like they'll glow green if it detects that the headset's on. It'll detect if the handsets are on, and then it'll detect the sensors. But you can't modify your play area unless you've got that set up. And so you can't play any games unless you have that defined, because otherwise the PC's not gonna know where you're moving, and then you start bumping into all your stuff. So you basically draw a line, like a cube for yourself to play in, right? Like 2 square feet. And so I understood the concept.
That's a lot of work to play a game.
It was a lot of work, and let me tell you why. You had to have them angled at 45 degrees downward so that they could see each other, the floor, and the headset. Okay? And so not only was that a problem, I was having a problem having them detect one another. And my bedroom it's not cramped. I got a lot of shit in it, but I have at least 2-3 open square feet when I push the couch that I'm sitting on backwards. Okay.
Yeah.
So even though that should have been fine, they weren't detecting one another. And they were constantly spotting in and out. And I basically am lucky that I have camera equipment at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to either mount them, like screw them into your ceiling and permanently have them there like you would like surround sound speakers.
Yeah.
Or is there a way for me to like do like a spin dash Yeah. Hold on. So basically, I had a small camera tripod sitting on a bookshelf in my top, like the top left of me right now.
Yeah.
And then the other was on a tall tripod, like a long tripod, in front of my bed over here. And so basically, without camera equipment or the risk of mounting them like permanently, even though it didn't belong to me, they were never ever going to work. And so even though after a lot of fussing around and sweating and trying to get them rigged in a very specific way, finally got everything to work and everything to detect each other. This was like an afternoon and an evening of screwing around with this stuff. I finally get Steam VR to launch. And I'm clipping through the floor. Like the floor is my chest. And I'm looking around and my head's like, I'm basically like a floating head on a floor. And it didn't seem like that big of a problem when I was in the Steam VR demo room. But once I loaded, like I had a couple of like game demos, like a 360 video, and there was like a Spider-Man Homecoming VR demo where you like do the web shooters or whatever. And you need to have that aligned really specifically. So to me, it looked like I was either doing something clearly wrong, something was interfering, or I need 20-foot high ceilings in order to make this thing work. And on top of that, I couldn't even get super hot VR to load at all, which is the issue that your friend had with Elite Dangerous.
Yeah. I guess
So
that's like, the inherent problem first generation at home VR, it's not going to work for everyone. It's not going to be for everyone.
I guess I just couldn't figure out if it like Steam doesn't make it. Steam and HTC doesn't make it clear if it's user error or if it's a bug or what. So I was just frustrated. Yeah, it was annoying. Yes, box. All right. So basically, once I gave up on that, that's when I really dove into Persona 5, which we talked about me playing a little bit last week. You still there? Can you hear me? He froze.
It's gone AFK.
Hold on. You're freezing.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I lost you like 30, 40 seconds ago. So I lost you like when I was rambling about the setting up of the Vive.
Okay, I was just saying, like, I thought VR would be a lot further on at this point. I thought, like, we'd be hearing about more games, more things like that. But it seems to, like, it's cool, but it's not really for everyone. I don't know if it's really gonna work unless they make like. I mean, games are the reason we buy consoles, right? I mean, I don't really have a game that I'm like, I have to play on VR.
Right, and it's like there's some games there. Like the install base is growing, right? Like before the end of the year, we'll have most Bethesda games that we all like to play available in VR. We have Fallout, we got Doom. We'll have I think like a Dishonored thing. We'll have Skyrim. Like that's cool, but those are games that we've already played.
Yeah, like those are VR light games.
Right?
Like, oh, you wear your VR device. So these aren't VR specific games. Like the best game, like Elite Dangerous, which
Hold on, I'm losing you for a second again.
I've played his version. He's like, sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, you're just kind of clipping out. You were talking about your friend.
Yeah, I was talking about like when we were playing, like I played Elite Dangerous with him. It was great playing in that environment because it was like you put the VR on and then you had like full access to your cockpit. You could see where everything was like. So he had his throttle, everything. He had his keyboard in front of him with like certain keys, like like basically spacebar and all that marked for certain things. But like that's a great environment. But it's like it was really fun to play, and I wish they made more games like that where it's like you feel fully immersed and like everything kind of works well using a flight stick. My problem with the playing in VR was it was like it feels like your face is melting off the front.
Oh yeah, like, when you're wearing the headset.
I was playing for an hour and like my head is killing me. It's It's like
Yeah.
my vision's fine, but it was just like, there was this big heater on my face, and it was pulling my whole neck forward. It's cool, but you can't play a game for like more than an hour, really.
Yeah, and I think they kind of recommend sessions that long for now, unless you're doing like Resident Evil 7 and PSVR. PSVR is distinctively the most comfortable to wear out of all of them that I've seen so far.
It's lighter. Didn't they put most of the hardware like that connects to it, or?
Yeah, well, also for PSVR, everything's detected by the camera, so it's super easy to set up.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing with consoles. Things on consoles should be the easiest to like set up and use.
Yeah,
You want to hit a button, it turns on, plays your game, missing files, or like having to restore things to default and things like that.
Easily.
Oh boy.
Okay, here's the second boss fight. Yep. And I just lost all my coins. Yay. Okay, and there you go again.
Like, don't worry, you got this.
Where's Tails? What are you doing?
Watch out. Player can like someone control Tails too.
No, it's basically like how Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Adventure 3 was. Ugh, that sucks. But like this kind of reminds me of like level design from the Yoshi's Island games or something. Oof, that was close.
I mean, it looks great. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, this game looks. Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
I mean, I'm watching it through your stream, but it still looks really nice.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, just a lot of gripes about VR, and it's like now we're in year 2, and where's the value in it? Like the HTC Vive was such a pain in the ass to set up, and that thing is valued at $1,000 for all of that. I really
wanted to get one, but I'm like, I'm not gonna drop $1,000 on first generation Google Glass. Remember people paying how much? Couple $1,000 to have that?
I don't even want to know. And like the video that you could watch, like the photos was like a size of like a 200 megapixel, 2 megapixel thumbnail or something like that.
That's why. So I don't know. I always seem to, if you want to be the first one to have something, you gotta sit there and deal with the headaches of it.
Yeah, definitely. And it's nice that there's people willing to be the early adopters and give that feedback when necessary, but I'm not that person.
The champions, because if they don't buy it, then companies won't fix things and make better ones. So you need those people too. It's just I'm not one of those people. I'm thankful for people who do. But I'm going to sit here and complain about everything.
Yeah. Well, our hard-earned money, and then it's like, oh, how much of it is a pain in the ass? So anyway, once I gave up on that, I started getting deep into Persona 5.
How deep are you?
Yeah. Well, so the thing with that game, it's all story when you start off with it. And then I realized I was in the prologue, and there's so many different concepts to introduce in the game, half of them barely even having to do with gameplay, that the prologue was maybe 10, 12 hours of my time ultimately over the course of like a week. Yeah. So not only does it introduce your character's problem, your foster dad, the town areas in Tokyo and how you can interact with it, there's a couple of side characters it introduces, and it introduces the netherworld that you go into, and then it introduces another character, and it builds this plot, and you hate that other character. So do you care about like me telling you what the setup is for a lot of this stuff?
I mean, you can. I'll try to keep up.
So basically, the concept of Persona is you kind of have to think about it like an anime Inception. That's the easiest way I can possibly describe it. So Persona has always had these secondary unknown nether worlds that you go into when you're not in school, because they all take place in a high school. And in your off time, you're like this kind of either mystic or thief or whatever you call it. Actually, kind of in a way, both. And basically, you're trying to take vengeance upon, the awful things being done by adults, not like kids or teens, but like actual grown adults. awful things that they're doing in reality and taking vengeance upon it in the netherworld where their heart's desires are manifested into evil castles or palaces, as it is called. So basically, it's like a double of the world, kind of like Zelda's Dark World in a way.
Yeah, it's like a
but
mirror
it's
world.
all designed. It's a mirror world, but kind of modeled after the seven deadly sins and castles modeled after those things. So the example of the prologue, there's a lot of setup to it because there's a lot of characters, and they really have to motivate you to hate this first subject of the first palace, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it sets up where you're the transfer student at a new high school that saved a woman from being sexually assaulted, and because it was a mobster, you're the person at fault, and then you basically got expelled at first. So everybody already by default hates you, and then you befriend this rebellious kid, and eventually the hot blonde model girl who's half American, right?
Okay.
and there's a really shitty fucking gym coach, and he basically is a womanizer and a cheater and abusive in that not even like towards the girls. It's one thing about the girls, but he even physically abuses the male athletes, like the high school students, in order to get them to win. Like, it's dark and sad. And you hate this guy with this burning passion. And then all of a sudden you wake up and like the main character's got an app on his phone. You wake up in this alternate reality, and that's a manifestation of the evil things in this guy's heart, the gym teacher. So he is the king of this supposed palace, and ultimately you have like a persona, like where you're possessed by an ancient, arcane spirit that gives you basically JRPG powers.
Okay.
And in each palace of these awful people, their palaces get manifested by their emotions. Mm-hmm. You go in to steal their treasure. And the reason that it takes so long is because in the middle of introducing all of that, you are still being a high school student trying to do high school things. And you interact with all of that, either in gameplay wise, like walking around the world performing tasks, or by interacting with people and building relationships with them. And so that's why it gets jokingly referred to as a dating sim, because a lot of it is getting to know fellow high school students, the faculty, your surrogate dad, people in the neighborhood that he interacts with. And it's all for the benefit of boosting your stats ultimately in battle. Right. So like there's a woman who's like a punk rocker, and she's like an experimental medical practitioner, and you can get medicine from her and make appointments with her. And it takes time out of your regular day to day. But then in the evening time after school, when you go to do these palaces, you can use her medicine, and it translates into actual in-game medicine that can be used in the other world. So it actually has a stronger effect in that context. And that goes true for any weapons or, clothing that you wear.
Okay. So wait, my question is so when you beat this castle, does the person die? Do they become good, or is it just
that's the moral ambiguity and makes it very angsty for these characters. And it's from what I'm told is the most angsty Persona game ever to exist, because a lot of it's either about people's grief or whatever. This one's just about high school students being angsty and wanting to do good.
Okay.
And that's why this guy's so irredeemably an asshole. That person, when you steal their treasure, those evil emotions in their heart that drive them will basically become a mental vegetable.
Oh my god.
Either that, they confess to their crimes and get arrested, or they basically become so much of a vegetable that they die.
Jesus
Christ. There's a strong possibility of that. And so that's what I'm thinking. When they introduced that concept in the prologue, and that's 6 hours in, and I'm like, oh wait, that's what happens when you defeat this dungeon?
I'm killing people.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily.
And the characters that you play as recognize this, and then he does something that's so bad that it drives a girl to almost kill herself, and then you and the main character and company are like, no, okay, yeah, let's do this. He deserves it. What could the story have possibly done to to introduce it. So it's a really interesting. It's basically you're watching this really complex anime play out with really unique world building that I've never seen in anything other than maybe, for better or for worse, like Naruto, for the best, like Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay.
And so as far as the gameplay goes, once the story stops driving everything for you in Persona, you kind of get more control. And so every you basically have a list of things that you can do in your day to day, and it literally is an actual calendar. So it starts on like April 19th, and you have a specific number of things that can be done throughout each day until the day ends and you have to go to sleep.
Okay.
And basically by the time May 21st, 22nd rolls around in game, they're like, okay, if we don't do this, like defeat this and get rid of this guy by May 5th, he will get us expelled at the faculty board meeting, which is like a weird little plot convenience to give them a time limit, and it gives them like personal stakes in it.
They would do that to expel somebody, isn't that usually like?
Yeah.
Never mind now.
Well, basically because like the gym teacher's trying to cover his own ass, and he's trying to cover that he's not like physically abusing anybody or whatever. It's really, really strange. It's a very strange game. And there's a bunch of like weird monsters and very anime things. I'm not gonna lie, it's like one of the most anime things I've ever seen. But the music's so good, the style is bonkers, and I love it. The only thing is like people claim they like if you give it the time and you really go in deep and try to build bonds with all these characters, you spend 100 hours on this game. Wow. So like I was told like, okay, yeah, the 10, 12-hour prologue that I had done, that's a prologue. You just did a 12-hour prologue, and that's an eighth of the game.
You're getting your money's worth.
Well, and I borrowed it from a friend, funny enough.
Yeah,
so it's like I didn't even.
It's like it should be.
I didn't even pay for it.
Yeah, was paid off in this game.
$1 1 hour. So yeah, it takes a lot to get into, and I probably won't finish it. That's another game that I've expressed like I would love to be able to play it on the Switch as opposed to the PS4, and it looks great on PS4. Don't get me wrong, but
you just want to be able to play it whenever and ever.
Yeah,
like
somewhere else. That's what everybody was saying about Breath of the Wild, right? Such a beautiful, big, expansive game, and you're restricted to your couch. No way, take it on the go. And I know that Atlas is the company that makes Persona. Mm-hmm. And they recognize that, and they have for years, because Persona's been around for 20 years, as of this year. So what they do is they do a remaster, like a definitive edition, for whatever portable console at the time. And because it's always been on PlayStation, they do it on PSP. Yeah. But that means Persona 4 was already on PlayStation Vita. And we know what that console's done. Yeah. So I don't know if a Persona game, if Travis, if you're still watching, maybe you can tell me. I don't know if a Persona game has ever made it to a Nintendo console, but I think that would be a genius idea, because I would be so much more inclined to put those kind of hours into a game like Persona, with it being able to be portable.
I'm sure most developers are looking at the Switch right now because of how many people bought them. It's just kind of like, can we get our game to work on it? I'm sure every developer wants to make.
It's very simple to develop, and so I think a lot of it sometimes is down to Nintendo agreeing upon it as well. So like there was a remaster of that '90s game, you know, like the live action movie one, like the movie plot one. What was it called?
Something that I don't know. It's like you're at the slumber party, and you have
like the cabin in the woods format horror one.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's gonna kill me until I figure out the name of it. Like Cape Fear,
Night Terrors or something.
Night Terror or something like that. Like they were all for putting it on the Switch. It's that simple to develop on. And Nintendo was like, no, we said no to this 25 years ago, and we're gonna say no now.
Yeah. I mean, they're consistent.
Yeah.
I gotta find the name of this game. I gotta go.
Travis just told me it's Night Trap.
Okay,
that's it. That's the one.
Night Terrors or something horribly worse.
Crap. But yeah, that's Persona. Travis, let me know if there's something else that I'm missing there, but I think I just perfectly summarized the prologue and how many deep concepts there are.
It's a game within a game within a game.
No, it's really interesting, right? Because you basically have to make those decisions. You can, at the end of every school day, decide to just rush out and go into the other world and try to defeat that dungeon, but you can't just do it all in one sitting, right?
You have to go to class and do other things.
Well, not only that, the time frame kind of moves itself up until the point where you have the ability to decide, like at the end of the school day. But at the end of the school day, you decide, do I build a relationship with this character or this character? Do I garner like potions and stuff? Or do I just go right in and rush through this campaign? And if your characters aren't leveled up enough, or if you don't have a strong enough bond with them, or you don't have like the what do you call it? The rapport with them that's required, they get burnt out super quick. And the characters do get burnt out because you not only have health, you have it's referred to as SP. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's basically just like it's like mana. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can heal your characters, right? And you have like a party of 4, or I guess eventually 5. But they get exhausted once you start doing a number of battles over the course of the trip. Yeah. And so you kind of have to get to a safe room because it's part stealth as well. So you have safe rooms that you have to get into and, evaluate your progress, see where the characters are at, and decide, all right, do we keep moving forward, or is this just going to be a waste of our time and resources and we just move on to the next day and come back later?
I get that. I mean, I'm playing Stardew, so I basically have like a day, like it's something I have to do every day, like either farming or going to town or fishing or something else.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is that it takes place in animated Tokyo, and it actually very accurately represents Tokyo. So, like, you'll go to a gun shop, like a model gun shop in Shibuya, and you buy fake guns to use as real guns in the other. Yeah. Basically, you're buying things that look realistic so that you can use them in the quasi dream world. Like, it's an actually really accurate visually representation of Shibuya. And most of downtown Tokyo. So that's pretty cool.
I mean, yeah, I've always heard great things about Persona and like the game itself and the gameplay and everything. It's just, I feel like it's a deep rabbit hole that I can't.
Oh, it's such a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna easily, move it down to easy mode because I had it set on normal, and once it actually got to doing the RPG battles, it was kicking my ass so bad.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Okay, here we go.
Run while you're invincible.
Oh my god. Yep, that's basically. Oh, this level's really cool. Oh. Okay, I can dig it. Shit. God. What else? That's it on Persona.
Yeah.
I feel bad. Like now I'm just talking about, I happen to do a lot of game-related stuff over the course of this past week. So I'm just kind of getting it all out, especially because there hasn't really been that much news. I wrote something down. Basically, there's kind of a controversy about the Metroid amiibo. I don't know if you heard about that. You probably saw it on the know like I did.
Yeah. But
basically, on Metroid 2, that the 3DS one, they are there's going to be a hard mode on it, which Metroid fans want, and usually you can unlock like a third more complex hard mode. In this particular case, however, you have the amiibo specific to the game as well as amiibo from the Smash Brothers run.
Yeah.
But the amiibo specific to the game come in a 2-pack for $30. And one of them, the Baby Metroid one, unlocks what's called Fusion Mode. So it unlocks the Fusion suit from Metroid Fusion.
I remember that.
And then also the hardest possible difficulty in the game.
So you have to buy an amiibo to get...
You have to buy a $30 amiibo pack on top of the $50 game. Yeah, to get the complete version of the game.
Wow. I mean...
And so,
in the world of
now we have hashtag AmiiboGate. It's basically Nintendo's season pass. The problem is, even if there are people that are willing to pay that price, which and I'm a Metroid fan, and I've been waiting for a good Metroid game for a while. I'll pay $70 for like a full version, whatever, to support the franchise. But it's physical merch.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I get
the problem
that.
with that is it's amiibo. It's amiibo. It's going to be impossible to get.
I think also the problem is it's like that. It's a hard mode. It's not like they're adding new content to the game besides the suit.
Yes, that's the only line of defense.
That's in the game already. The hard mode's in the game. It's just unlocked by buying a $30 figure, which I don't really like.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for creating new content, but I'm not a big fan of day one DLCs and things like that, where it's like, you spend all this money on a game, and it's like, you got to spend more if you want to unlock everything. I'm like, no, that should be in the game. It was basically in the game. You just took it out and figured you could charge an extra $5 to $10, but in this case, $30 for a hard mode, which is just,
Yeah. First and last time I fell for that was Mass Effect 3, the collector's edition, because you had that Prothean character. Yeah. Who was basically just like a space Jamaican, to be quite honest about it. Oh, this is weird. Am I playing Dr. Mario all of a sudden?
Basically.
Huh. Okay.
You can dig it.
All right.
Or he's kicking your ass right now.
Okay, that works. Anyway, so that's the gripe with Nintendo,
Mm-hmm.
That's the rub.
That's just Nintendo, though. They're always, doing their own thing. They always got to be like, I guess.
Yeah, but basically the problem for fans is like how am I going to get my complete Metroid experience if it's going to be impossible for me to even get the merchandise that I need to get that complete experience?
I've always said Nintendo with Amiibos, they should come out with at least cards. So if you want to get content that is associated with that figure, you could get it maybe for cheaper. Maybe like you buy a pack of a pack of cards for like $5. You get 5 cards and you get a card associated. They have a Legend of Zelda pack, a Metroid pack. At least then you're not gated out of this content and you can still use it, but you don't get the nice figure.
Yeah.
I mean, people want the figure. I'm sure people just want the figure for the figure, and there's people who legitimately want just what's associated with that amiibo.
Right. Oh, this is complicated. Am I winning? I think I'm winning.
It's whoever hits the top, so I guess
Well, the last to hit the top.
Yeah. No, he's almost there. So now you're gonna drop a bunch on him now, I think. I don't know. I haven't played Dr. Mario in forever. But in that space.
Yep.
Yeah, you lost.
I did it. I did the thing. I won. Yay.
You're a champion.
Awesome. But yeah, day one DLC where it's pre-built into the game. Fuck that.
Yeah. Like
Street Fighter V did that. Mortal Kombat did that.
Every game's doing it now. It's
I know.
It's a game that has to happen where it's like, I understand games haven't gone, but it's not like it's why you got to pay for content on the disc that just got to get unlocked.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, look at this. It's like Blade Runner.
How do you feel about the new Blade Runner coming out?
Oh, God. Well, here's the deal. You know who the director is on that?
I can't remember. I can't recall.
Oh, God. It's hard to pronounce his name, but it's basically, his name's Denis Villeneuve or whatever. I think he's French-Canadian. But he's a very good director. He did Arrival last year with Amy Adams.
Okay,
that was she should have been nominated for an Oscar for that movie, but he's also an excellent director.
Yeah,
he did Prisoners with Hugh Jackman and Paul Dano. He did Prisoners. Oh, Jake Gyllenhaal was in that, but he also did Prisoners with Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a very good director.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't dislike Ryan Reynolds. And I don't mind that Harrison Ford's in it again. Jared Leto doesn't bother me as an actor just because the Joker was bad, wasn't his fault. You want no beef? You want no beef? Oh, Jesus Christ. But the script writers are bad.
Yeah.
And so we'll see if it's as much of a technical marvel as the original was, or it kind of gets the substance down, the Philip K. Dick style.
Yeah.
Fine. Hopefully.
So worst case scenario, it's like Tron Legacy looks amazing. stories just wasn't there.
No. Worst case, it's like Ghost in the Shell, where it tries really hard to recreate the visual style, but has a complete lack of understanding what made that first version so special in the first place.
Okay. So I mean, if you get like a Tron Legacy version, I mean, it's not the worst case, you know.
Yeah, if it's Tron Legacy, then it's like nice homage, ultimately forgettable. Yeah. The CGI is not going to look good in a couple of years. Like, I didn't hate Tron Legacy.
No, I thought it was. I mean, some people did. It looked awesome. I haven't gone back and watched it, but I still, you know, it looked awesome then. I'm sure it holds up.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Everything's still kind of like video gamey, you know.
Yeah.
And he had a cool, kick-ass soundtrack. Let's be honest, that Daft Punk, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Daft Punk. Frick. Is this a movie theater? Oh, it's a movie theater.
Yeah, you're in the camera. You see, we're talking about movies. We're keeping it topical.
There's a little projector. Yeah.
All about the topics.
Oh, look at the popcorn! Oh, glad that popcorn. Nice. What the frig is that thing? Oh God, it's a fidget spinner. Kill it.
It is a fidget spinner. Wait, you know fidget spinning? They gotta add fidget spinning to the Olympics.
Oh, jeez. Man.
I'm sure more people will watch.
Yeah. What other game did I play? Hold on. I'm trying to figure out what the other game I played was. Oh, yeah. Nidhogg 2.
How's that?
Well, have you played Nidhogg 1?
Nope.
You haven't?
Nope.
Okay, do you know what it looks like?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't know if I've played it.
Okay, so Nidhogg 2 is actually one of the games that I interviewed for at PAX East. The creator's name is Mark Essen. His Twitter handle is Messoff. Good indie game designer. Nidhogg is like this little indie cult darling that is literally, it looks like an Atari title, and it is two masculine-esque figures, one yellow, one pink, and it's a two-player local multiplayer or online, and you basically just fence each other until somebody...
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
So basically, you stab each other until you attempt to stab each other until one gets stabbed in a hit. You rush to the next end of the stage, and then basically it's basically like a fencing tug of war until you ultimately get eaten by a big nasty worm.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
What?
You need to be quiet.
I'm having a conversation.
You're really, really loud.
Hi.
You're like really loud.
Okay.
So please quiet down.
All right. Okay. So, yeah,
he's screaming as loud as you can right now.
He's just being a pickle puss. Yeah, so basically Nidhogg is that, and Nidhogg 2, he basically collaborated with a bunch of other creators and musicians, and it's basically that like tenfold. So where the original game looked like an Atari game, this looks like a Super Nintendo or like a Sega Saturn kind of thing.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and so basically different visual style, different music. It's got what do you call it? Different weapon classes. So like instead of just like a fencing sword, like a rapier, you've got like broadswords, you've got bows and arrows, you've got a dagger, and it fundamentally plays the same way. You know, local multiplayer, online multiplayer, character creation. It's not a very expensive game. It's just like a cool, quick multiplayer or
couch co-op game.
It's a good couch co-op. Like it's just a good couch co-op party game to kill some time. But it's right because you're not playing together. It's so well designed. It really is.
It's a simple game. Simple multiplayer. Kill the other guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I go to the right.
Yeah. Oop. Okay. I gotta get up.
You gotta go fast. That's what you're doing wrong. You should always be going fast.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
But yeah, I'm hoping soon we get more games that come out that, you know, that aren't like remakes, caches, or, you know, let's get some original games going.
Oh, yeah, that'll never happen. But I think that's actually all I got for the day. I don't know.
Yeah, it was a slow news day and a slow news week. Slow
Yeah.
news
Other than
week.
that, like maybe a rumor of GameCube games showing up on the Switch Virtual Console, but who knows? That'll
That's
probably
a
not happen. Yeah, it probably won't happen for a while, but it is what it
Nintendo's
is.
MO to put all their old games on the current console.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. Well, hopefully by next week I'll have actually finally played PlayerUnknown's Battleground because I have Google Wi-Fi now. And so because of that, I have a LAN connection by way of Ethernet to my desktop. So
Sweet. Maybe
that's gonna give me a lot. It's gonna give me a lot better connection. So let me know night that you may or may not be on, and I'll throw it on Steam.
we'll have a squad together. We'll let the D-pad squad. We'll
Oh yeah.
We're gonna get chicken dinner and we're gonna make chicken for dinner. That's how it's gonna work.
Yeah. Sweet. Cool. Well, I think that's it for What the D-Pad tonight. If somebody is watching this and you got topics to submit or news that you want to forward us, because since I just aggregate it on a whim until we start talking about games that we're playing or even games that you've been playing that you want us to try out that we haven't, sounds good. I'm down. And other than that, we'll be on next Wednesday.
Bye.
Cool. Hold on. Let me stop the stream.